Last week in round 5 of the Premier League predictions, we did pretty well. 5 results and 2 scores. The 2 scores both being 3-1 away victories, Brighton beating Man United and Man City beating West Ham. Very, very happy with that. 2 scores is always great. It's always the goal that I go for. But 5 results as well. It's been a pretty good weekend. Let's move on to this weekend though, because there's some very, very tasty fixtures in here. There's 5 on Saturday, 5 on Sunday, and I'm hoping that it's as exciting as it was last week. We've obviously had some teams playing in Europe as well, which is why there's so many teams playing on Sunday. But I'm very interested to see how they get on. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into the predictions. We start off with Palace against Fulham. And Palace, they lost 3-1 to Villa last weekend, but they were 1-0 up until the 87th minute, and then Villa, a quick 3 goals. There was a lot of injury time as well, but a late comeback took all 3 points from Palace. They will feel quite hard done by, but they've got to concentrate for the whole game, and they didn't. Fulham beat Luton 1-0. I think this will be a tight one, but I do like Palace at home. I do favour them quite often when they do play at home. So I'm going to go with that. Palace to win 2-1. Luton face Wolves. An interesting clash at the bottom of the table. Luton still looking for their first points of the season. They are the only side without a point. Wolves have struggled. They've won 1 but lost the other 4. Luton, they have only played 1 home game so far, and I think a lot of their points this season will come at home. A lot of players will be quite intimidated and uncomfortable changing in the dressing rooms and being on such in a small stadium that's really tight to the pitch with majority Luton fans. I think it's going to make some people uncomfortable being in that stadium, which will get them some points this season. And they've had tough fixtures so far, but this is the sort of fixture, home against a struggling Wolves, that they will want to take all 3 points from. Wolves, they were very, very good in the first half against Liverpool. They were 1-0 up, probably should have been 2 or 3. But then in the second half it dropped off. Now Liverpool have been doing some very good late comebacks this season. They always seem to go down and then come back and win it. And Wolves kind of just didn't play very well in the second half. For this, and this is a bold prediction, I'm going to go for Luton to not only get their first point, but get a win, 1-0. Man City against Forest. Now, City have won their first 5 games. They're the only side to have a 100% record, and even though they've conceded a goal in each of the last 3 games, they've scored 10 in them. So, not keeping clean sheets, but scoring plenty. Jeremy Doku has also started very, very well at Man City. Nottingham Forest, I think they are going to have a pretty good season. They're on 7 points so far. I think they've made some brilliant pickups in the summer, and I think the squad that they've got at the moment is, it might be a bit of a bold shout, but a top 10 squad, obviously 9th or 10th, but I really think they've got a good squad together and they're going to pick up a lot of wins this season. I don't think they'll be near the relegation zone. They are struggling maybe to close out games. They did draw 1-1 with Burnley. They made a comeback in it, but I'm expecting a bit more from them in front of goal. A few more goals scored and they will get the wins that they need. However, I do think City too strong. I think it won't be a Forest getting blown away. They haven't been blown away yet this season, but I will go Man City to win 2-1. Brentford against Everton. Now, Brentford were unbeaten in their first 4, but they were handed their first loss of the season, 1-0 against Newcastle. It's a difficult place to go to, St James's Park, so it is unfortunate for them, but 6 points out of their first 5 games isn't too bad at all. Everton, they've got 1 point. They drew with Sheffield United, but since then they have lost 1-0 to Arsenal a game that they'd never really lose at Goodison Park. So I am a bit worried about Everton because they have no goals in them at all. Other than that Sheffield United game, they hadn't scored this season. They look very, very poor. And I've got Brentford to win 2-0. Burnley against Man United. And there's another bold prediction to come. Burnley, they picked up their first point in their last game against Nottingham Forest, a 1-1 draw. And Burnley were very, very impressive in that game. Koleosho on the wing was brilliant to watch. He was really pulling the strings. Very good game from him and Burnley as a whole. Man United, they are struggling. They've won 2, lost 3 of their first 5. They lost to Bayern Munich in midweek in the Champions League. And I've just got a feeling that Man United going away from home, Burnley, that draw will have given them a bit of confidence. And I'm actually going to go down the middle, Burnley to pick up their second point, 1-1. On to the North London derby, and it may be the most informed North London derby that I have seen. Now, both sides, 4 wins and a draw. Arsenal played Champions League midweek. They blew PSV away 4-0. And they've both started the season so well. Spurs, very defensively resolute. You saw in the Sheffield United game an extremely late comeback to end up winning against Sheffield United. I did feel sorry for the Blades, to be honest, but that's not the normal Tottenham. I think Postecoglou is doing a very, very good job there. And, considering he's lost Kane as well, they are really flying. I've been pleasantly surprised by Spurs. Have Arsenal got a bit more quality than them? Yes, I think they do. But these games can go either way. There's normally a lot of drama, controversial decisions, red cards. I always look forward to this fixture every season. But I think because Arsenal are the home side, I am going to back them to win 2-1. Brighton take on Bournemouth next. Now Brighton, 4 wins from 5. Very, very good. They have conceded in every game. They lost 3-1 to West Ham, but they've then got 2 4-1 wins and 2 3-1 wins. The 2 3-1s have been back-to-back against Newcastle and Man United. And Brighton are such an exciting team to watch. I love it when they're live on TV. Watching them, they are a joy to watch. Bournemouth, you could look at it and say they're struggling because they haven't won a game yet. But when you actually look at the fixtures they've had, they have been tough games. They've managed to get a draw against West Ham, Brentford and Chelsea. So 3 tough games. I know Chelsea aren't in great form, but 3 tough games there that they've got points from. And they've lost to Liverpool and Spurs. So I think Bournemouth will have a decent season again this year. I don't think they'll end up getting relegated like a few people have said. I think they'll be safe and 15th, somewhere like that, which would be another good season. For this one, Brighton have the quality. I've got to back them because in the league they turn it on. There's so many interchangeable attacks that it must be really hard to set up to play against Brighton. And I'm going to go for the Seagulls to win 3-1. Chelsea against Villa is a tough one to call. Now Chelsea, 1 win so far this season out of 5. It was a 3-0 against Luton. They have struggled against everyone else. A 0-0 draw with Bournemouth last time out. They're not scoring many goals. A 1-0 loss against Forest before. So Chelsea are struggling a lot in front of goal. The same sort of problems they were having last year. Villa, another side that maybe they haven't really done anything too spectacular yet because they've won 3, lost 2, but the 3 they've won you'd really expect them to be winning against Palace, Burnley and Everton, and then the 2 losses have been against Liverpool and Newcastle, which you'd expect those as well. So nothing out of the ordinary for Villa yet. This game is that kind of test to see, Chelsea do still have a good squad. It's not quite clicking yet. Can Villa go there and get all 3 points? Now, it was quite funny as a Blues fan seeing Villa play against Legia Warsaw in midweek because Villa was so excited about it and then ended up losing it 3-2. Obviously, no disrespect to Villa. They are in Europe. They had a very good year last year. It was quite amusing to see them lose when they were so excited for it. I'm sure they'll be fine and get out of their group. They have more than enough money in that squad to win the whole competition. For this game, I'm going to go down the middle, maybe a bit safe, but 1-1. Liverpool against West Ham. Now, Liverpool are on that brilliant unbeaten run. They haven't lost this season, 4 wins and a draw. And they also had like 12 games unbeaten at the back end of last season in the league. So they are really, really tough to beat at the moment. But they do look like they can be beaten. It's been really strange. Their last 3 games, they beat Villa comfortably. But against Newcastle and Wolves, they went behind. They started really slowly. Obviously, the Newcastle game, I don't know how Newcastle didn't manage to win that. I think Liverpool are managing to hang on in games because of a lack of composure and being clinical from their opponents. And then Liverpool managed to snatch it at the end. But they aren't playing great either. They are just managing to hang on and scrape through. So maybe Liverpool can be beaten soon by someone coming up. But West Ham have also had a decent start to the season. 10 points from 15. They lost against Man City last time out, but everyone has so far. I think this could be a draw. I don't know why, but I'm going for an exciting draw. I tend to go for one of these every week, so 2-2. And we end on Sheffield United against Newcastle. Now, Sheffield United will feel very hard done by that they didn't pick up their second lot of points in their last game. They've got 1 draw and 4 losses, but the last one, they were 1-0 up and conceded in the 98th and 100th minute against Tottenham to lose all 3 points, going from a 1-0 win to a 2-1 defeat. Very, very unfortunate. I did feel sorry for the Blades fans, but that's football sometimes. You've just got to focus for the whole game until that final whistle goes, and they must have lost concentration. Newcastle, they haven't been great, but they have had a very tough run of fixtures. The toughest that I've seen at the start of a season for a Premier League side, to be honest. And although they are a good side, it does take a bit of time to get into a rhythm. Now, they have only scored 3 goals in their last 4 Premier League games, so not great in front of goal, especially after that 5-1 against Villa opening day. I thought Newcastle were going to be scoring for fun. They drew 0-0 with AC Milan midweek. It's a good point to get away at AC Milan. Brilliant point. They did play pretty poorly though. I don't know how Milan didn't manage to win that one. Milan were all over them but couldn't get the points. Now, I think this one for me, Newcastle is an easier fixture. I think they will start to get into a rhythm. But just for now, with them not scoring many goals, I think this one has 1-0 Newcastle written all over it. So, those are my predictions for these Premier League fixtures. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully it's an exciting weekend, and I'll see you soon.